Goodness me, I miss the quiet times. One of the downsides of unlockdown is too many people, too many cars. Anyway, I'll be really quick. Welcome up to White Rocks. Well, actually, this is the White Rocks cliff path. And I've just come up this way just for a little bit of a recce, first of all. There's an arch along here that is very well photographed. I photographed it myself from time to time, and I was tempted to sort of bimble down there and just hang out down there for the evening, but I think I'm more interested in heading actually down to the actual beach itself and looking to get some more intimate shots maybe as that tide comes in. So let's take a wander down to the beach and see what we can grab. Beautiful evening though. Goodness me, those midges are pretty bad actually. Thankfully we don't have too many of the biting ones along here, but they just like to infiltrate, well, your nostrils really. Never understood that. You've got the whole beautiful universe to go to, Mr. Midgie and Mr. Fly. Why do you want to head up my nostrils? Anyway, so yeah, just going to head down onto the beach. Look to do maybe some more sort of close-up, intimate sort of stuff. And as that tide comes in, now high tide isn't until about midnight tonight. It kind of might not work what I'm looking to get, but we'll see. Gorgeous evening though, absolutely beautiful. Welcome to an absolutely stunning evening on White Rocks Beach, as I said. And I've come right the way up to the top, close to the archway there. Despite the conditions, I don't know about you, but sometimes sort of the grander vista can become a little too formulaic. Is that the term? Formulated, step by step by step. Point your camera at something in the foreground, get a nice scene, and it is beautiful light, don't get me wrong, but I'm just not feeling it. I'll take a couple of images and probably throw them up, but just not feeling it. I would love to go, I've got the 18-135 on, and I would love to kind of zoom in to about 110 mil or more. But unfortunately on the 18-135, I would say that anything above 100 I find a little bit questionable. But yeah, the conditions are beautiful, really nice. Now as that tide comes in, it starts to play around a little bit with some of the stones on the beach and some of those rocks, and that's where things may get interesting. Oh, we're about to get wet, I think. Are we? Oh, close. Yeah, it does come in quite quick up this way as well, so I better make sure I don't get cut off. Right, we're going to carry on shooting this for a little while, maybe see whether there's something else, but just not feeling it, which can be confusing at times because, come on, this is stunning, but it is what it is, eh? What I do love though is those dark foreboding clouds behind with that sunlight illuminating on, so you never know, we might get something, we might. I don't know. So one of the other issues that I'm faced with here is right now, because the tide's kind of not really, yes it is coming up around those rocks, it's not very kind of forceful, and so what you'll find is that if you do any kind of slightly longer exposure, all's really coming through is the colour of the sand, so it's very drab and muddy and just not very nice at all. So it's probably going to be maybe in another half an hour, 45 minutes time, which may actually mean that I'll get kind of cut off, so it may not work. That's just one other thing, just looking at the lichen and the seaweed on that rock there, just those little patterns, lovely. That's just something to bear in mind, you know, not every bit of wave action around rocks is worthwhile capturing. You really want a little bit of energy. You know, as that tide's coming in there, it's losing all that energy, and it's maybe on a couple of millimeters deep, and so by the time it kind of goes round the rocks, you're just not getting any texture in it at all. So really beautiful conditions. As we've had the last number of evenings though, you can see some hazy conditions on the horizon, so you kind of got to make hay while the sun shines and all that. So we're going to see whether we can set something else up. Just not feeling it here. Yeah, that light's already starting to subdue a little bit, so good time to look for another comp. By the way, I do like that term, comp. Time to look for another composition. Oh, I'm in a grumpy mood tonight, I think. Ugh. So do you remember I said about those dark foreboding clouds? Randomly it's raining. Did not see this anywhere near the weather forecast tonight, but hey, maybe a chance of a rainbow, and then we're going to do a little rainbow dance or something. Gonna get wet again. Yeah, we're getting pushed back down the beach a little bit. Really bizarre as well. Last time I shot up here was about 18 months ago, and on that evening, now I've come up here a number of times just walking. Very, just people out walking dogs. The last time I was here 18 months ago shooting, randomly 4 people come out of the archway in wetsuits bouldering, and tonight 4 people come out of the archway in wetsuits bouldering. Most peculiar. Anyway, reckon we get a rainbow? 50-50 I say. It does make for quite nice conditions, mind you, because you do have that really nice, those nice dark clouds behind, but again, just struggling with the tide conditions, very messy beach, and really just not feeling it. Okay, now we're cooking my gas a little bit more. So I've completely taken myself away from the wider view, as I said I was looking to do. And just now that the tide's starting to cover some of these stones and bring in little bits of seaweed, that's what I'm kind of focusing on. So still on the XT2 18-135, and one of the things I love about little scenes like this is the fact that they are gone in an instant, and in fact the scene that I just set up is no longer there. The tide has taken it away. In fact, here comes the tide again, and that's what I love to do now. The sun seems to be, that bank of clouds seems to be sort of coming and going, but the great thing about it is, when I see sort of something like this here with a bunch of stones and maybe a little bit of kelp, a little bit of seaweed, I just watch to see how the tide is affecting that. So each time the tide comes in and covers it, you might actually find that the composition reveals itself. So yeah, that kind of worked out really well. I don't have any ND filters on, just have the polarizer on at the moment, because I wanted to sort of about a 0.2, 0.3 second. And so just with the polarizer on, just to give me just that little bit of a slightly longer shutter speed. But yeah, I think that worked out quite nicely. Right, let's see whether or not the tides are going to reveal any more nice compositions. So back to shooting towards white rocks, and that light is starting to fade a little bit. Some beautiful conditions actually. We've got a lovely set of purpley orangey glow over Jan's Causeway, and obviously white rocks are turning a little bit red, and we have got some lovely energy in those waves now. Decided to kind of make the most of it. I was in the process of there was some lovely sort of wet sand that was reflecting some of the sunlight that I was working on, but then all of a sudden the tide came in a little bit too far and kind of washed that away, which is why I'm back to shooting a more generic landscape, but trying to make the most of those reflections as well on that on the wet beach, especially with the colour that is coming up. But yeah, really nice conditions up here, and I get the feeling there's a chance that even post sunset colours may be quite nice as well, so we'll see how that works out. So it's another one of those situations where kind of pointing my camera in the opposite direction to what most people would think would be sensible, and probably true, but I just love the colour that the setting sun was illuminated against these rocks, and I just sort of spinning you around, you'll be able to see the sort of those rocks behind me, and so just picking out just some abstract shapes and form, and the light's dissipating a little bit now, but that's what kind of drew my eye to it, rather than the usual pointing my camera to another sunset falling in the sky. Pointing my camera at random textures, why not? There's a lovely kind of curve, and then the rock seems to kind of concave in on itself and more lines, so all rather nice, and a rather nice sunset going on as well. I did just see two chaps walking up here in little like swimming shorts and not much else. Folks, it is Northern Ireland still, it's not the Bahamas. Calm down. So as I thought, some really stunning post-sunset light, and in fact once again I turned away from where the sun was setting because I noticed that there was some gorgeous textures in a kind of band of cloud that was really lending itself to sort of a bit of a wider vista. It was quite sad standing here on a clear day or a clear evening. We've got really good views of Islay, somewhere that I've never been, that we had hoped to get to last year in the van, but just situations worked against us, and my favourite whiskies are over there, so tempted to get in a boat and just get across. I could be there by morning, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, just as I thought, some glorious post-sunset colour. Sunset's probably about 10 minutes ago, and just gorgeous. I mean, a real lovely transition of light as well. There's burnt oranges and reds closer to the sunset. We've still got that lovely sort of purple and pink hue sort of over to my right hand side here, so well, there you go. A little bit of a mixed bag this evening. I came out thinking about doing intimate, and I still think, at least looking on the back of the camera, I'm going to get very wet feet again. I still think looking on the back of the camera, the intimate shot with the rocks and a little bit of sort of kelp is going to be my favourite shot of the evening, but you know what, when the conditions are like this, sometimes you've just got to point your camera to the wider view. But a fun evening, and yeah, well, I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Hopefully your feet are a little bit drier than mine. These Salomons, not waterproof at all, and probably now the Gore-Tex is not even less waterproof. I'm rambling. I'm going to pack up, wander back to the car, and make the short dash here, just as the waves come over my feet again. Alright guys, until next time, take care. Bye bye.